everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Hennessy and I started this channel to talk through things like investing in Dominican Republic, working from home, traveling, and a lot of other fun stuff. So I'm super excited to get into today's video because I am going to be answering one of the most common questions I get, which is how much money am I actually making from short-term rentals in the Dominican Republic. So I'm going to be totally honest and give you guys some of the numbers that I make. So let's go ahead and get started. So as I've previously mentioned, I started to invest in Dominican Republic a few years ago, and during this time I have a house and apartment that I both have on platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo, and I also rent privately, and then I also just purchased a plot of land last year. So I'm gonna get started with the house. So the house, as I've previously mentioned in one of my other videos, it was actually my mom who purchased it about 12 years ago or so, and in 2020 she kind of gave me the house and I was able to like fix it up a bit. I added a pool in the backyard, which has been the main amenity that people who are attracted to for the house, and I really try to make it a really nice space for people to rent. The audience that I usually get are usually families or groups of friends that are looking to like barbecue, sort of have a nice time, enjoy the pool and things like that. So for the house, just to give you guys a little bit more of how many people it can sleep, the house is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house with obviously the living room, dining room, kitchen, and of course the backyard. It can sleep up to 10 people. However, I only advertise it for 8 people. So again, pretty large number, and that's why I usually get for the house groups of people. Now, the house is very unique in a way, and sometimes it shocks me on the amount of money it's made. And the reason I say that, it's because the house is not located in a touristic area. It is located in the outskirts of La Romana, which is really nothing around there. And when I mean nothing, it's nothing that will attract tourists to be in that area. It's super local. You know, there's people that live there are just like this is their house, their home, that type of area. There's not really a lot of commercial spaces. It's a pretty quiet area. And so, you know, it kind of shocks me because it's not a touristic area. You're not really close to the beach or anything like that, but it still managed to make a pretty decent amount of money, again, because of the attraction of having the private backyard with the pool and people can barbecue, and it's pretty chill and laid back, right? So I started with the house as a short-term rental back in 2021. I actually put it up on Airbnb. I believe it was like late August, late August. I put it up on Airbnb, and it's been on Airbnb ever since. Now the house, I only have it on Airbnb. I don't have it in any other platform, and the reason for that is, again, that it's not in a touristic area. When I'm thinking about people searching in Vrbo, they usually have some sort of expectation of it being like kind of the hotel vibe type of thing, and the house is not that. The house is very local. It's nice, it's chill. I personally love where the area is located, but I can see if someone is traveling from a different country, which I've gotten a lot of, you know, they are gonna be kind of like, where is this? Like, this looks weird, right? So I only have the house on Airbnb because I feel like that platform kind of works more with the house. You know, Airbnb is known for you giving up like your personal space of a house to be able to share with other people. So I think it goes better with the vibe of the house. And I also rent it like privately. So, you know, if someone wants to reach out, I have a whole system in place to be able to rent it privately. So since 2021 in total, the house has made $23,745, which again, I think it's pretty great, being that the house is located not in a touristic area. And I think that amount of money has actually been pretty good for a house that also doesn't have any expenses. So as I mentioned, my mom bought it. The stuff that I added in was I paid for cash, so there's no like extra loan or anything on the house. My fixed expenses are internet and electricity, and of course I buy the supplies needed, like your cleaning supplies, the pool supplies, which could get a little bit expensive in the sense of like you're buying it so often to make sure that the pool is always good. I also have a generator, so I have to be buying like gasoline for the generator, and of course I pay someone to clean. So those are pretty much my expenses. I think very minimal, not a lot in total for the year. I think in expenses is maybe like $1,500 to $2,000, like in a full year. So as you know, if I'm making $23,745 in 2 years. I really didn't, add much to like expenses. Most of that is just income coming straight into my bank account. So I do want to break down the numbers because it was 23,000 within 2 years and a half. So in 2021, which is when I started, I only made $2,079. So it wasn't a lot. It felt like a very slow start. I was like, oh, maybe this is not like what, like maybe Airbnb is not for the house. Again, that wasn't the main purpose of me fixing up the house. It was actually for myself. But I was like, I'll just put it up on Airbnb for the months that I'm not in Dominican Republic and be able to make extra income. And I think it was able to do just that. So again, 2021 didn't make much. In 2022, I then made $11,789.19. And then in 2023, it kind of came down a bit. I was a little bit shocked, but I made $9,876.64. So now we're in 2024. Of course, I look at income throughout a full year, so January to December. So I'm not going to go into the numbers of what has happened for this year because, again, with seasonality and just like good months and bad months throughout the year, the number can look a lot different once the full year is over. And so I'm only going to show up to 2023, December 2023. So that was pretty much it. The one thing I've seen for the last 2.5 years of the house, the good months for me are January, July, and August is usually when I make the most money. And then the other months, they're just kind of making enough money to continue. But again, I look at the full year. So at the end of the year, the numbers that I just shared, it's pretty much what the house made. So now let's move on to the apartment. So the apartment is located in a, touristic area in a sense. It's located in Valladolid, Dominican Republic. So if you don't know a lot about Valladolid, it's a small fishing town. It's a pretty cute town. I think I personally love it, which is why I wanted to get an apartment in Valladolid. You're walking distance to the beach, like literally from the apartment, from my apartment, you're like an 8-minute walk to the beach. So it's really close. I love it. Like there's a lot of bars and restaurants that I already got to know, like the people that work there, which is what I love about the small town vibes. So that's the reason why I got an apartment in Valladolid. And I only started with Airbnb and Vrbo. I did put it up on Vrbo because I feel like Valladolid is a little bit more touristic, so it kind of matches up with the type of audience that would normally search through Vrbo. And I also rent it out privately. I did only start in January of 2023. So really the house, it's only been a year and a half since I started renting it. And only a full year is the number that I'm going to share with you. So for 2023, from January to December, I made $20,435.57 with that apartment. However, it kind of feels like I didn't really make much with the apartment, and the reason for that is because my expenses are a lot higher in comparison to the house. So for the apartment, it is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. It can sleep up to 7 people, but I only advertise it for 5. I've kept it kind of just smaller just because, it requires, with more people, it means that more cleaning, the longer turnaround time. So I've kind of kept it at just like 5 people. So I do get a lot of families, and I get a lot of people just traveling solo, so that's good for the house. Some of my fixed expenses, of course, are the internet and electricity, and I also have a condo fee. I also have to buy cleaning supplies, which is, not that expensive in a sense, and I pay someone to like clean, obviously. But actually, my biggest expense for the apartment has been the mortgage, because as I've mentioned in one of my previous video, I kind of, gave a down payment for the apartment, and I took out a mortgage, which I pay on a monthly basis. So in total for 2023, all of my expenses came out to $19,200. And so because of that, I really don't see like I've kind of came in flat, right? Like I've made $20,000 and I spend $19,000 on expenses. So it's kind of been flat. I didn't really like make much money, but because everything was able to like pay for itself, that's great. That's honestly the best that I could ask for. And it was also just the first year. One thing that I've seen with like short-term rental is that over time it kind of like increases more, which is great. However, for this year, I do want to say that I've kind of seen a shift with Airbnb. And I don't know if you guys have experienced the same thing. To be totally transparent, I feel like this year with Airbnb, things have been a lot slower. And on the other hand, I feel like Vrbo has picked up a lot more. And so there is kind of like a change going on. I've also seen some of my peers, you know, that do short-term rentals in Dominican Republic kind of just advertise it privately. I'll see a lot of them through like Facebook Marketplace and things like that. So it's been interesting to see sort of that shift away from Airbnb. Of course, that's not to say there's certain locations that people will go on Airbnb and look for and look for that location. And it's still one of the most searched, you know, short-term rental platforms. I want to say in the world, but definitely in Dominican Republic. So it's still being used a lot. I've just personally seeing sort of like a shift in how much rentals I am getting through Airbnb. But overall, not bad. Definitely let me know in the comments, you know, have you experienced the same? Are you seeing like a shift in dynamic in the market? Let me know. Would love to hear your thoughts, but that's just personally been what I've seen, at least for this year. Overall, I think it's been pretty good. For short-term rentals in Dominican Republic. I feel like if I was to live in Dominican Republic, that's definitely income that would help out a lot and would help me manage like living in Dominican Republic even better. I think that living in New York, of course, like $30,000 a year extra doesn't really make much of a difference. And you know, I'm happy to have my normal job, my 9 to 5. But as I've mentioned, if I ever in the future want to just say F it and kind of move to Dominican Republic, I have like income that I know I can rely on. So that's just like, you know, I'm happy for that. Of course, you know, it depends on your expenses. Everyone's expenses are different. I don't think I have, like if I was to live in DR, I feel like my expenses would be very minimal, because I don't really have much except for like the house itself, which again, if there's income coming in, it can always pay for itself. So that was pretty much it. Sorry, I went on a little tangent there at the end. But I do want to say that, you know, this has been really exciting for me to share these numbers. I know people usually are very hesitant to give exact numbers, but this has just been from my personal experience, what I've done. I also manage my own Airbnbs, so I don't have to like pay for someone to manage them. But I also know that if you do pay for someone to manage them, maybe you have more of an ability to make more money because they already know the market and what to do and how to advertise it, which I don't do any of. So that could be a difference there. I could probably be making more, but I'm happy with what I'm making. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if like other people are making more, making less, but that's just what I make a year, is around about 30K throughout the year. So very excited that I share those numbers. Let me know what you think. Again, thank you so much for watching, and see you guys next time.